You're listening to the Otis Jiry channel. Well-Being. Written by Alan Ray Rowlands. Performed by Otis Jiry. Did you hear? Have you seen? Look! A man over yonder, weaving through the trees in his white, forbidding wilderness. Observe his unwarranted stealth, crunching through a tangle of frozen undergrowth, icy wind a whisper in the canopy of evergreen needles above his bobbing head. Why is this one so anxious? What errand brings him here, so far from his realm of adjustable warmth and unnatural light? See that flicker, like a fairy companion that flutters at his side? The man has got an axe in his hand, catching stray splinters of sunlight as he lurches onward through the snow. Friendless in a stern assembly of giants, the man trudges on, glancing this way and that, stalking his peculiar prey. He stops before a short, stout pine tree, nods once and smiles, cheered by the images in his head. The imminent joy of children who will welcome this tiny green guest into their home. The man looks around and sighs. He has little to show his offspring this season, and came to the wild just for such a prize as this. It will mean so much to them, and to him. Help! The man freezes, axe aloft. Help! He wasn't certain he heard the shot, but there it is again. The cry of a child. A faint, frantic echo in his ear, borne on an icy breeze from somewhere deep, deep in the forest. Deeper than the man had ever been, or ever cared to go. Help! Somebody help! Forlorn, all but lost in the vast howling reaches of the wild. Shrill, high-pitched panic spurs a father's heart to action. The man plunges into the emerald shadows, still clutching the axe, high-stepping through snowdrifts and brittle foliage, crackling fingers that slash and jab. He runs awkwardly, drifting one way and the other, and he stalls now, faltering and confused, slapped to his knees in the pitiful heart of winter. He looks around, bewildered. He's lost his way. All horizons are tree-lined and anonymous. He holds his breath, waiting. A moment passes. Help! His head whips around, honing in on that distant yelp of terror. The man gets to his feet, propped on his axe. He hoists the implement, hugs it close, and lopes on toward that tiny voice. Swallowed in a chasm of solitude. Help! Help! The man charges into a dense assembly of pine and swings his axe, slashing through a bedlam of skeletal branches. He bursts from the labyrinth into a sudden clearing, a blight on the land where nothing grows, a barren circle without a blade of grass or patch of snow. He stands, panting and immobile, bewildered by the pallid, contrary vision before him. Here is the desperate child, cupping her hands for the next plaintive wail, scrawny and trembling in a tattered, full-length coat, eyes full of fright set in ashen skin. The girl lowers her arms, gazing in wonder at the weary newcomer. She takes a few hurried steps toward the man, the hem of her shabby frock scuffing the frozen earth. She turns and motions wildly toward the center of the clearing, to a crumbling mound of irregular stones, an ancient well, brooding and forgotten in this dead region. The well, mister! The girl bounces frantically, looking from man to well. The man starts toward her, bemused and apprehensive, alert for sudden danger. Mister, my daddy's down that well. The man is shocked into action. He drops the axe, and the iron head clatters on the hard soil as he moves quickly to the well. He won't talk to me. I need you to help him. He plants his forearms on the circled stones and peers over the edge down into utter darkness. Hello? Can you hear me? There is no reply. He blinks into the depths, irritated by a faint, fetid scent in the still air, taunted by an elusive incongruity. Something wrong. Something missing. He waits in silence for a moment. "Are you injured? Can you make a sound?" The man throws the girl a fretful glance, then quickly returns his attention to the silent abyss. The gloom impenetrable, absolute. He wills it to evaporate and reveal the girl's hapless father, considers how to prepare a child for the worst news possible. He briefly imagines scrambling over the edge and dropping into the dark, an absurdly reckless act for one who cannot see the bottom of the well. "Come on, buddy, give me a sign." If there is, in fact, a bottom. "Hello?" If there is, in fact, a well. The man is stunned by silence. His bowels tighten with intuitive dread as he realizes what has been missing. A simple echo. His strident queries, shouted into the depths, were absorbed without any trace of resonance from stone wall or earthen floor. Engulfed in a void without clear limits, and there he stands, helpless in the presence of primordial mystery, waiting for a sound. A stirring. A sign of life in the empty heart of creation. The man feels sluggish and feeble. He strains against the vaguely censored torpor, turns to address the child, struggling to contain his despair. "Honey." The girl hovers nearby, eyes wide. His voice is soft, his words carefully chosen. "Honey, how long has it been? How long since your dad fell down there?" The girl hesitates. Her mouth drops open, her lips tremble for a grueling, protracted moment. Ultimately, confoundingly, she says nothing, as if unable to process the dismal answer to a straightforward query. Her would-be champion turns back to the well in bewilderment, gapes once again into mocking darkness, still waiting. He is almost calm now, patient, mesmerized in an ecstasy of distress. Nothing, and then something. "Hello?" Does he hear it? Can he feel it? A subtle shift, a slight displacement in the stagnant gulf below. The man holds his breath, listening. He leans forward, staring. A half-formed picture of quickened chaos writhes in his mind. The antediluvian unknown, shuddering, heaving, boiling up from the innermost reaches of racial memory. A toneless whistle and a belch of noxious vapor, and the man falls back, shrieking, as a widening tube of pallid, fresh corkscrews into the light, knots of wriggling tentacles and translucent bulbs, and all manner of puckered wounds and scars. The man grovels and gapes, paralyzed in the face of streaming madness. His vision blurs. He feels numb and adrift in space and time as reason retreats from inconceivable truth. Fear and wonder give way to primal impulse. He rolls instinctively and scrambles to his feet. One frenetic motion, a spontaneous bid for survival. He bolts for the trees as smoky, virulent tissue flows from the pit behind him and juts toward the sky. A slithering shadow overtakes the fleeting figure as a tower of quaking horror rises to obstruct the sun. The man spins for a quick glimpse and leaps to the side. The squealing mass flops to the ground and squirms with terrible vigor. Obscene tendrils stretch and shiver, sweeping frozen earth to snare their quarry. Ruptured pustules splatter the man with slime as he digs his nails into the ground and crawls, inch by laborious inch, in a savage snarl of constricting fibers. The loathsome thing tightens its grip. The man fights on, bucking and thrashing with all his ebbing resolve. He strains against a ruthless primordial will, but can crawl no further. The clutching strands are taut, and throbbing with power. The man cannot advance. He cannot resist. And so he surrenders, exhales forcefully, lowers his head in implicit resignation. His body slumps, his muscles go limp. The ancient abomination yelps in triumph. The appalling clamor echoes deep within the earth. And suddenly the man is struggling again, wrenching his arms free from the slackened tentacles. He scrambles forward with a frantic burst of strength, groping desperately toward the clearing's edge, kicking at the thrashing, voracious tendrils, gaining a few more agonizing inches before the enraged leviathan is upon him. The tip of its tapering bulk winds around his body with startling speed, wrenches him backward. The man is slammed to the ground, stunned. He gulps frigid air and sobs in confusion, momentarily uncertain of what is happening. He is skimming rapidly now, face scraping the harsh terrain, arms dangling. Smothering coils cinched together, squeezing the air from his lungs, dragging him toward the stone-lined aperture that was never a well, but a trap, a ruse, a gateway to unthinkable depths. Dire impressions, soul-searing images flicker in his mind, assault the waning strength of his will. He envisions himself gripped not by a worm-like torso fixed to the interior of that looming portal, but by a single appendage of some titanic subterranean bulk, a behemoth contained in vast chasms of endless night, seething and craving and growing through untold eons. The man looks to the uncaring blue sky as if bidding farewell to light and life. He feels the bracing winter chill in his face, hears the faraway sigh of the wind, and another, more immediate sound, like the jangle of a make-believe bell. The discordant clatter of the axe-head behind him jolts the man awake from dark wonder and despair. He tightens his grip on the sturdy wooden handle, arches his back, and howls, calling out to his woman, his children, to each unwary member of his frail, adolescent tribe as he is lifted from the ground and borne to the brink of oblivion. Half-day approaches. Dreary sunlight has crept unnoticed across the clearing and now spills into the yawning pit. Something swells slowly into view. The raving, dangling man glimpses what he somehow recognizes as a face, and all at once, finally, lets go of lucid thought. Sense and strategy yield to elementary loathing and fury. The man swings the axe, severs a twitching tendril, earning a bleat of outrage from below. Swings the axe and opens a massive, sallow stalk that holds him, exposing spongy yellow viscera. Swings the axe and cuts deeper, piercing tender organs that ooze malodorous filth as a thunderous groaning reverberates in the underworld. Lesser appendages rise from the depths and fall away in vaporous shreds as the man chops and slices with mounting abandon, a sweating, snarling exultation of his terrible will to live. And now he slips free of the faltering coils, tumbles to the ground and runs, wobbling and weaving on tingly rubbery legs. He staggers to the edge of the clearing, drops the cumbersome tool, and plunges ahead into the trees. He will wander in the wild for a time, bleary and exhausted. His mind will clear, his fever cool as the substance of his ordeal fades from memory, like the scattered fragments of a dream. He will return to his people, then, in their domain of construct and comfort, and resume the common rituals of his life. Unanswered questions will vex his soul through many restless nights, but he will never come to this place again. But look now! Do you see? There, in that stark arena, the man has fled forgotten. A diminutive figure stands over an abandoned axe, studying with dismay the tacky, multi-hued juices clinging to its blade. She turns and hurries to the waiting circle of stones, the portal to fathomless secrets, the counterfeit well. "Daddy," She pauses, anxious and trembling. "Father!" She catches hold of the well's rim and pulls herself up. Delicate threads of milky tissue unwind beneath the hem of her coat and quiver with apprehension. Her slender, boneless form leans into the pit as her brow erupts into a score of pulsating, blood-red eyes. "Father, are you gravely wounded? Is it very bad?" A gust of pungent breath caresses the child's face, stirs the razor-sharp filaments of her hair. Muted thunder rumbles from below, a voice like grinding boulders, the echoes of nature's lament. "I will heal, little one. I will be whole again." "I failed you, Father. I'm sorry." "There will be others, child. Keep trying." "Yes, Father." Pale tendrils curl up to hide within her coat as the girl drops to the ground. She turns from the well, her face congealing into a fresh mask of fragile innocence. She glides to the edge of the clearing and raises her hand to her mouth. "Help!" There had once been whole communities of human folk in these mountains, with their wooden splinters and four-legged companions, convenient prey and plentiful. "Help! Somebody help!" But that was a long time ago. "Help!"